games. It's ScrubGames. Double up. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames.
How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we've got another of my deck of the week, where we go over the deck that I really like, I've been playing for this week, or I've been enjoying, or just feel is a great one to kind of go over. And for this one, it is going to be Iden Double Blue, focusing on Male. This is a deck that I've enjoyed since the beginning of the game. Well, almost beginning of the game. I didn't play it as soon as, but after catching wind of it, I've been playing it since that's one, on and off, but a little bit here and there, back and forth, because it just incorporates one of my favorite kind of ways to play in Mill. Now, even though Mill isn't the alternative win condition like it is in other games, where as soon as you deck your opponent out, or as soon as they go to draw after you deck them out, they then lose, it still can act as an alternate win condition, because then, at least in this game, the whole way to win is by damage. So once you deck them out, they start taking damage for when they can't draw any cards. So you then win from that way by damage being forced on them. And a good chunk, meaning they got 5 turns once they've mailed out, as long as they've got a 30 health base. So we're going to go into it. So if you're interested, stay tuned. And also don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Keep you updated with my videos as when they drop. And by clicking that notification bell, you can get alerts to when my videos do drop as well. So you can watch them there and then, or at a later time that suits you. So let's get in and check out the deck. So let's start off with looking at the leader, because you might not be aware of what leader does, because we're 3 sets in now, coming to set 4 soon as well. And as well with that, you might not have come across every leader in the set, because every set brings us 18 leaders, which is quite a lot, but it's good because it means a good amount of diversity and different effects we can try out as well. So with Iden, she's a good healing leader, so she's in the Villainy side of Vigilance, so it's blue-black. And she has a nice bit of healing whenever you take out one of your opponent's units. So when she's in the leader area, then you can just tap her. So the action is a tap, and then if an enemy unit was defeated this phase, you get to heal 1 damage from your base. So nice little bit of healing. Take out one of your opponent's units, get 1 bit of healing. And it's an action as well, so it means you can do that to kind of bait out actions or use up actions, wait for your opponent to do something before you do what you want to do, kind of thing. And when she does deploy, which is not too early at 6 resources, not too late as well compared to others drop at 7, but she does drop, not too early, but then she only comes down to 4/4, so she is quite fragile. 4 power is really good. 4 health though is not so great, because it means that she's within the range of takedown and things like that, they'll taken out straight away. But the nice little thing to help her is she comes in shielded, so she comes in with a shield protector, so she's got a one-time use of that. And then now she's got the effect of, without you needing to tap or just use an action, just whenever enemy unit's defeated, you heal damage from base. So if you take out a load in one go, then you get to heal 1 for every single one of those ones that just went. So pretty nice. So pretty cool leader, and you can get a good amount of healing. If you want to do Super Laser Blast as well, you can deploy her Super Laser Blast, and because she gets defeated at the same time as everything else, you'll heal from all those as well, so get a good amount of healing, while also taking everything down with it. And the base we're going for is just a 30 health base for blue, because we don't really want, the only rare bases we've got really, as a set 3, is Security Complex, which is 25 health, and has the special effect to allow you to put a shield on a non-leader unit once a game, which isn't worth, in my opinion, isn't worth the 5 less health. You want that extra 5 health to fight against things like aggro, and just survive most games. And the other one we've got is Pal City, but where you're not focusing on your leader, and Pal City is one of those rare bases that has a heavy leader focus, you're not worried about it giving it 1 extra HP when she's still within range of takedowns. It doesn't really do that much. So you're going for a 30 health base, and I do like Dig Up a Swamp, because it's just one of my favorite arts until we get, even then when we get the alt art in the Twin Suns deck boxes for set 4s at least. So I'm going to look forward to that, because then it gives you a shiny base of this in full art as well. So that's the leader. Now let's have a look at the units. The units, because we're going to go through units, then upgrades, and then events that they normally show in sets. So we're starting the lower cost to the higher cost. So first one we've got is Pershing. This is going to be a way to kind of keep your hand healthy and just get a good amount of draw to basically go through your deck a little bit quicker, and also keep your hand healthy with options. Now he is pretty nice. He's a turn 1 play because he only costs 2. And he's got no power, so he's going to do any damage back, but he has 5 health, which is pretty nice. And a nice little action where you can tap him to deal 1 damage to a friendly unit, so more likely himself most of the time, and then draw a card. Easy way from turn 1, play it out, then from then on, as long as he's around, you can just deal damage to him, or something on your board, then draw a card. Really nice, really handy, and so we play 3 of them. Then we've got the next ones, we jump up then, our only proper turn 1 play is Pershing, and then we've got the Decline as the next one, both come out in the same set. Next one does cost 1 more, so it's a turn 2 play onwards. It comes down with the same amount of health, but also 2 power, so actually is hitting back with some power at least. Also comes in shielded as well, so it's got that protection as well as having a little bit power, plus a good amount of health. And also he's got a nicer way to kind of give more healing along with Iden. Because in effect, as an action, by tapping him, you can choose a unit on the board, any unit, yours or your opponent's. You're only going to choose your opponent's. And then for this phase, it gains a bounty, and that bounty is to heal 5 damage from a base. So it's also got a little text to remind you that when the unit with this bounty on is defeated or captured, the opponent collects the bounty. So you normally want to put in your opponent, so you can take him out, collect that bounty, and get a good amount of healing. So in a turn with these two together, with the client and your leader, you can heal 6 damage from your base in for taking out 1 unit. That's cool, because you get 1 heal from Iden, and then you get 5 from the client if you put the bounty on. So we've got 3 copies of this, because it's a very good unit, and then we jump up once again to the next one, being Lieutenant Charleston. Now this is a really nice one that kind of didn't say play early in the beginning of the game, but as the set goes on and like card control became a thing, it saw a bit more play, because it's really nice, because even though it's only a 4 cost 2/2, so very low stats for its cost, but it has a way to make him better. It also is a sentinel as well, so it gives you that protector in the ground arena to kind of protect your base. And he does get stronger because he's got a 1 blade where you can reveal up to 4 blue cards, so 4 vigilance cards, with from your hand. And then for each card you do reveal this way, you give an experience token to him. So by hitting the maximum, showing 4 blue cards, you can give him an extra 4 experience, making him a 6/6, which is pretty good. A 4 cost 6/6 sentinel is very, very nice. You can even boost him up then with an entrench. You can make him a 9/9 at maximum to make him a huge unit. He won't be able to attack bases, but he will defend and take out anything that swings into him. So really cool there. So you've got there 3 copies of him, because we're trying to keep the units to being more useful, like they've got a brain stuffing, can actually help something. And so far Pershing is helping you draw more cards, the client is offering you healing, and also just being a sticky thing on the board to keep offering that healing. And then you got Charleston as a way to protect your base from attacks from the ground arena. Next we go on to 2 copies of Lom Pike. This is one that we've got, and it's a nice one because it's one that you can easily resource, because it's got smuggle, so you can always play it out from your resources, so you've always got something to play. So even if you have to resource it early, you can still play it out later in the game. It also is a 4 cost, 4/6, so pretty good stats. 4 power is pretty nice, and 6 health is very nice for 4 cost. And it's got a nice little effect as well, because on attack, you can give a shield token to an enemy unit, and if you do, give a shield token to a friendly unit. So you might be thinking, why would you want to give a shield token to your opponent's unit? Well, if they've got something in the space arena, like one of those little spaceships, and you want to say protect or put a shield on Charleston, or protect Pershing, or like protect one of your units, you can always just swing with Lom Pike, choose their space unit if you've got nothing in the space arena to give a shield to, and then give a shield to whatever you want on your board, maybe itself, or even one of your other units as well. It's really nice. You can always, that's what you normally want to do, is give a shield to something, token to something you're not attacking in, that's not an issue or not a problem, and then give a shield token to something that you want with that has value. So it makes a nice thing giving it to itself while giving a shield token to a space unit, so you can then take out or attack into something, do damage to it or take it out, and then not take any damage thanks to Lom having the shield and using that. So that's a pretty nice one. And another 4 cost we've got is Sugi. Sugi. You've probably never seen this one as well. It's one that doesn't really see play too much. It's a double blue. It's one of the set 2 double blue double aspect cards for blue, and it's a 4 cost 4/6, the same stats as Lom Pike, very nice stats. And she has a quite nice little effect where while an enemy unit is upgraded, so that could be from putting an upgrade on, she gains Sentinel. So it could be a Sentinel, additional Sentinel you can get out. It won't be as strong as Lieutenant Charleston, but it's one you can also smuggle out, because once again, just like Lom Pike, she has a smuggle as well, so she can always be resourced and then be smuggled out for more than what she is. Like, smuggle cost is normally always more than what the actual normal cost on the card is, but that's the benefit of like you can't smuggle, it's a higher cost, but it means you can play it from your resource at any point, as long as you get the right amount of resources. Producing a pretty nice one, so when your opponent starts upgrading the units, or if you say put an upgrade on when your opponent's space unit is on pike, you can then play out Sugi, and she'll be a sentinel for you, which is pretty cool. Then we got to the next one, like so some off aspect cards. We got 2 copies of Bounty Hunter Crew. Now this is out of aspect just to make sure that we don't lose to the mirror or like opposing mill decks. So Bounty Hunter Crew is going to cost 2 more because we don't have that yellow aspect. We do have the Villainy one. So it's going to cost 8 instead of 6. It's only a 4/4 as well, so not the best stats for its cost, but it at least has ambush, so it's coming down and attacking straight away. And it's got the main thing we're looking for is the effect of its when played. And that is you can return 1 event from your discard pile back to its owner's hand. So you can grab any event from your discard pile. So it could be Super Laser Blast, Vigilance, and things like that. One a good one for this being Restock. So you can get that back to your hand and basically reuse it. So it means if you're playing against the mirror and they start milling your Restock or things like that, you can use this to grab it back and then use Restock to put Bounty Hunter Crew and Restock back into the deck. So you can avoid yourself from decking out. And we've got 2 copies of this because we want to make sure we got a good amount for the mirror, like that includes stuff in the main deck. So you've got 2 copies of this. And if you feel like it's going to be against a matchup that's not useful, you could always resource it and not worry too much there. It's just there for certain matchups which you kind of want from the main. And then we've got 2 copies of Supreme Leader Snoke. I think I was tempted to put this up to 3, but with how the deck runs with very like higher control and focus on mill, you don't really need 3. Like once 1 comes down, it's not really sticking. Or if they do take out 1, you can always put a second one down, or just even remember you can always recycle them. And Snoke is a very good one for the latest stages of the game. When you start taking full control, you get to just bring this down, and all their leaders, all the units that's not the leader, have -2 to the stats, so 2 less power and 2 less health, which means if they're playing one of those very wide focuses on like loads of tokens and stuff like that, this could just take them all out. And it's got good stats because it's an 8 cost with 6/6, so stats are pretty good attack and pretty good health, meaning that especially with its effect, most things, unless the card that's coming down is an 8/8, then it's not really, well, at least 8 power is not really going to do much to it, so it can survive most things like that. And then lastly, we've got the last of our units being the Avenger. Now this is our big space, our only space unit, because we don't focus on that. We just like take units out, and this is one that's used because of how strong its effects is. Now it's a 9 cost, so the highest costing card in the deck. Yeah, highest costing card in the deck. 8/8 to its stats, so very big, very hard hitting, and it's got a nice effect that triggers both when you play it and when you attack with it, which is an opponent chooses a non-leader unit they control and defeat it. So every time it's played or when you attack with it, you're forcing your opponent to basically defeat one of the units. They have to defeat one of the units. Now, the benefit of this is that the less units your opponent has on board, the more devastating it is, because they've got a folk that if they've got only like 3 units, but are all ones they don't really want to lose, they've got to then decide which one they're going to lose because they're forced to lose one. Whereas if they go wide with the board and they've got lots of units, they can always choose the weakest or one they don't care about and just kill that instead. So it's a one that's more devastating the less your opponent has board, but the more they have on board, the less impactful it's going to be. So that is all the units. So not many units. Remember, hard control have got a lot more events than that and upgrades. Now let's have a look at those upgrades to see what we've got there. So with our upgrades, we've got 3 copies of Top Target, so an extra bit of healing. So this is one of those bounty upgrades we've got on set 2. So you put on one of your opponent's units, you put on yours. Doesn't give any boost to stats, but it puts a bounty on the unit. So the bounty for this one is you heal 4 damage from a unit or base. But if the unit this is attached to is unique, you get to heal 6 instead. So most likely, you want to kind of put on those unique units, which there's a good chance you will do. But if you can't, you can always put on a unit that is not unique and you still at least heal 4. But it's obviously more heal because where you're trying to focus on taking out your opponent's unit and normally just controlling the board, putting this on a unit and then taking it out means you get an extra bit of heal. And on top of that, with Iden, you're going to heal in combination with this either 5 or 7, depending on if it's unique or not. So 3 copies of that, very handy because it's very cheap as well at 1 cost. Then we've got 3 copies of Entrenched. Now this is one that's very beneficial both to use on yours and your opponent's units. Now you might be thinking, why would you use on your opponent's units? Because it's a 2 cost event that gives them extra free power and free health. But the nice benefit in putting on your opponent's cards is the effect of that it provides is that the attached unit caps out bases. Because put on your units, you're making yours bigger, so when you go and attack into your opponent's board to control it, you are going to hit harder, especially when you put a child zone into a 9/9. It's going to be harder for them to get to your base having to go for a 9/9 child zone. But sometimes you'll put on your opponent's units when you have nothing in that arena, so that way, while that unit is now stronger, it can't attack because you have nothing in that arena. I mean, it's stronger, but it can't really do anything, so it's stuck there doing nothing. And this is something we like to do in this deck, just put on your opponent's leader, so as long as you've got nothing in the ground arena, and you put on your opponent's leader, they can't attack with that unit at all because there's nothing for them to attack into. So you can almost, most of the time, halt your opponent's leader so you have to worry about that at all. And being cheap at 2 costs is very nice too. And our last event is Perilous Position. This is a very nice upgrade because it provides 2 things. One, it's got an effect where when played, it's exhaust detached unit. So it's great when your opponent deploys their leader, you can then put this on them. It's now exhausted and weaker. And the other effect is, like I said, it's now weaker. It weakens a unit by giving it -2 to their stats, -2 power and -2 health. Now it's the first upgrade that does that. It's very nice to have that. And this is very handy because there's a unit in the game which is I can't remember what it's called now. I know it's a TIE fighter that has the effect where it can be defeated, damaged, or captured by an opponent's effects. So against this deck, which is trying to take it, not really attack and really plays barely any space units, it's going to have a hard time against it. But as long as you can play this to turn its play, you can always take it out because once the unit hits 0 health remaining, it gets taken out. And since there's a unit that only has 2/2 for its stats, minus that units by 2/2 is going to definitely take it out. So very handy thing there. So that's all the upgrades we play. We don't play too many, but they're enough to kind of help out. And we've got 1 for healing, 1 for permanent attacks, and 1 for like holding off and weakening things as well. So that means the rest of these 9 cards are all events, and we're going to check them out right now. So for the events, this is what we've got. We've got 1 restock. So restock is a 1-cost event that allows you to choose up to 4 cards from your discard pile and put them on the bottom of your deck in a random order. And with how the game works, you can choose itself as one of those cards. You put 3 other cards plus itself back to the bottom of your deck and basically make it so you're never decking out, and also recycling some cards that you've used or lost during the game. This is put in as one-off in the main because of the fact that if you go against the mirror or whatever like card control decks that will try to maybe go for the mill option to kind of win, you can have this as a way to prevent that and keep your deck healthy and keep recycling cards you want to use to kind of win the matchup. And just like with Bounty Crew, this is mainly going to be one of the cards that's going to grab, and also the stuff you would main deck to help deal with those kind of matchups. Next, we've got 2 Equalize. Now, the thing with Equalize is it's there for against those, mainly for Django for the aggro matchup, because they play a lot of space units. And as you can see, we only play 1 space unit. It's a very high costing space unit. It's not one we're going to really drop anytime soon, so we need kind of stuff to deal with theirs. And this is one that can give you a +1. It can deal for 2 things with 1 card. Because what it does is it's a free cost event. So it's essentially, before we go over it, it's essentially an extra copy of Perilous Position, because it's almost, because it's a free cost event, same cost as Perilous Position, and it allows you to give a unit -2 power, -2 health for the phase. Same thing as Perilous Position. So that's where it's similar. It's the same cost as Perilous and does the same effect with the minus in stats. But it's also got another effect, and that is then if you control fewer units than the unit's controller, you can give another unit -2 power, -2 health for this phase. So it allows you to do double Perilous for the same cost. So give 2 things -2/2. Since you're mainly going to have less units majority of the time, you'll be able to trigger this fully. And it's therefore against the Django matchups where they put all those space units out that are pretty strong, but then quite fragile. Mostly it will have 2 health. You can take out 2 of them with just 1 stone, so you can take out 2 units in one. And even though it doesn't give you that heal at Make an Opening, it allows you to hit 2 units for 1. And then for Iden can still give you a heal by using their effect to heal 1. Or if you've got it deployed, you still heal 2. So we've got 2 copies of this to help with those Django matchups, and it's a pretty nice card there. We then got Power of the Dark Side. Now this is like Avenger in an event, and a cheap event because it's a third of the cost of Avenger at 3 instead of 9, and it has the same kind of effect, but it can also hit leaders because it forces your opponent to choose a unit they control and defeat it. And the difference is, like I said, it can hit leaders because it's not a non-leader, it's just any unit. So if your opponent deploys their leader against you when they've got nothing else on board, you can use Paradox to just destroy it, take it out. So they deploy it, and straight away it's dead for free. It's really good. But just like Avenger, it's got the whole issue of the more things your opponent has on board, the less impactful this is. But the less they have on board, the better it is, because you can just force, like, put a big unit down and they have nothing else but that big unit. You take it out straight away, force them to get rid of it for cheap. And to go with that, we've also got almost like a slightly watered down version of Paradox Side in Merciless Contest. It does the same thing in a sense, but with slight differences. So instead of just forcing your opponent to choose one of their units to control and defeat it, this forces both players, both you and your opponent, to choose a non-leader unit to control and defeat it. So like Avenger, it doesn't hit leaders, so it's a little bit less great in that, but then again, that's one little niche. And it does force both of you to kill off a unit. But the nice thing is, if you don't have any units on board, which majority of the time you aren't, then you just force your opponent to kill off one of theirs. And the nice thing about it is, if your opponent has the leader out and you've entrenched it, because you don't want it attacking, you want to lock it down, and then they play a unit. This is a great way to force them to kill off that unit, since this forces them to kill off non-leader units they control. Whereas if you use Paradox, they might just go, I want to keep this unit because it can actually attack and do things, but my leader's locked down, so I'm going to let my leader die and still keep that thing on the board. Whereas this forces them to get rid of the unit and leaves their entrenched leader there on board, which is pretty nice. So we've got 3 copies of each of these cards. Then we've got Vigilance. So a good reason for running double blue is that you get Vigilance for its printed cost, 4, and it's very, very powerful, 4. Because if you've played this game since set 1, you know that each aspect has a double aspect 4 cost event that's named after the aspect and gives you 4 options, and you can pick any 2 of them and resolve them in any order. And Vigilance is one of the best. I would personally say it's the best, but then it does fight with Cunning for a good spot in that position. Normally, I think most people agree that it's between Cunning and Vigilance that has the best 4 cost, double aspect event. But I personally prefer Vigilance because it's got 4 very good options. And the main ones you're going to be using is the first one, is the first 3. So the main ones you're using are discard 6 cards from the opponent's deck, so making your alternate win condition by milling them out. So if you haven't got, haven't got much else to do from the event, and they haven't got much, if any of the options aren't great to do, you can use this as a way to kind of make them mill 6 cards. The other option is heal 5 damage from base, so a nice bit, like a good chunk of healing. 5 is very, very nice, good amount of healing there. The next one is defeat a unit with 3 or less from HP, so a kind of way to kind of remove something, trigger Iden, and just some nice removal built in. So those are the main 3 you're going to use. And the last one is give a shield token to you, which could come in handy and be useful to kind of protect my units, which is quite nice. And anytime, there's always a good reason. So if your opponent's got nothing on board to take out, and you haven't taken any damage from base, the minimum you can do is go discard 6 cards from your opponent's deck, and maybe give a shield token to something you got on board. So you got that. But paying this for 4 instead of 6 is very, very nice, and there's very good options for there. Especially if you put a top target on a unit that can be defeated by one of its effects, you can then put a top target and then use the effective Vigilance to heal 5 and then defeat that unit, and then you'll potentially heal up to 11, or maybe 12 with Iden's effect built in as well. So 3 copies of this because it's such a good card, really good amount of healing, and also filters for that alternate winning condition to mill your opponent out as well. Then we've got 3 copies of Takedown, so this is a nice one because this, just like Paradox, I can hit even leaders, but it does a restriction. It's a 4 cost event that allows you to defeat any unit that's got 3 or less remaining HP. And the nice thing is, thanks to Paradox Position, you can kind of reduce the health of a unit down by using this to kind of reduce it within that range. So it means you can take out any unit that's low health, or even use Paradox Position to rest it, so it can't attack you that turn or is tapped down, and then take it out with either in the same turn or never turn after. It's pretty nice there. So got 3 copies of this because a nice bit of removal also triggers Iden. Then we got 2 copies of Vanquish. So you could, I know there was the whole thing that there's Vanquish kind of got out, what's the word for it? Power crept out because in the next set, set 2, we got both Fell the Dragon and Rival's Fool. Now, Fell the Dragon does the similar things in that it hits a non-leader unit, but then only one that's got a lot of power, so you mean hitting those very strong, high-power cards, but there's some cards in the game now that kind of are out the range of Takedown and Fell the Dragon, being 4 or less health, 4 less power, but then 6 or more health, so kind of hit it. And then Rivals Fall does the same thing as Vanquish, but better by being 1 cost more and hitting even leaders, whereas Vanquish just hits a non-leader unit. But sometimes you want to make sure you can hit any unit, even if it's not a leader, because sometimes you will entrench their leader, so they can't attack. So Vanquish is a better one than relying on 6 for Rivals Fall to basically just take out any unit. And Vanquish is quite nice, just 5 to take out a unit and make sure you're taking out anything unless it's a leader. So very good there. Then you got 1 copy of Rivals Fall, because sometimes you might not have your entrench ready for to put on your opponent's leader, or you might take it off their leader with like upgrade removal, or you might just want to take it out and not let them have it, keep it on board, because it might be providing some benefits there. So you got 1 copy of Rivals Fall, so you can make sure you hit your leader, and at the very least, if you're not hitting your leader, say you've entrenched the leader, you can always use this as a removal on any other unit that's kind of big. And then we got the big high costing event being Super Laser Blast, which is just a widespread dark hole. If you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, which allows you just for 8 high costing but powerful, because it wipes out every unit on board, even yours, both yours and your opponent's units. I mean, if your opponent goes for a huge board, puts a lot of things on board, or have to multi more than just one thing, that you can't just take out one hit removal, you can just wipe the entire board and wipe the slate clean. Now this is great to use, especially after they've spent most of their resources playing something. Just Super Laser Blast, wipe it all out. And if, like I said, if you've got Iden on board and you Super Laser Blast, you're going to get healing from everything you take out, because it gets taken out at the same time as Iden's on the board. Technically, because they all go at the same time. So that is the main deck. We kept it at 50 because we want to keep consistency and kind of see the things we're after, and make sure we're basically getting a good curve to make sure we can survive to then get to the later stages of the game and control the game. And we've also got a side deck as well. So if you're interested in seeing a side deck, then feel free to check out the next part. But also remember that side decks are unique to the person playing them, unique to the meta or the tournament that you're going to, or if it's locals, to your local scene. Now you can just take a side deck straight on, but if you ever want to change anything, do feel free to do so, because it's always best to make sure the side deck's tailored to you, because it's your playing deck, and even with the main deck as well. So let's check out that side. So this is the side deck I've got, just 6 cards, but then 6 cards is really all that's really needed. So let's have a look and see what we've got. So first one we've got is 3 copies of Villainy. So sometimes you'll have things that you don't want them to have, like big costing things that you don't want to have them play on board, or just things that you don't want them to keep in hand, like a little bit of hand control. Now you could put in Spark Rebellion instead. That stops them from allows you to look at their hand, rip a card from their hand, and not have something back, but you don't have anything aboard, so and also you pay more. Because the nice thing about Villainy is that both Villainy and Spark Rebellion are both cunning cards that will get aspect penalty there. But where Villaini's Villainy card, not a heroism card, you only have to pay 4 for Villainy instead of 6 like you would for Spark Rebellion. And even though Spark Rebellion can just rip any card out of their hand and they don't get anything back, which isn't better, Villainy will still rip a card from hand. Even though they get a card back, they still draw a card after you rip a card from hand. You at least get a body on board to then have there to kind of chip away, or like running the things to take up the shield off, and still get the rip at something for your opponent's hand. Like even though they draw it back, you still get to see what the hands, not have the hand knowledge, and rip a card out. So we've got 3 copies of this, just in case you need to rip out things from the hand and stop them from having cards that you wouldn't want them to have. We also got 2 copies to repair. This is a nice way to kind of keep yourself healthy. It's just like what I've used in the Yoda deck, being I can't remember what it's called in that now. But it's a nice little ability, and also it's got the extra benefit of being able to heal either a unit or a base, unlike the whatever one I've played. I still can't remember the name of it, which just heals base. So you can either heal free from your base or heal from your unit if you want to keep it around a little bit longer. It's got a nice little effect, but also it's a nice way to kind of, if against aggro, put it in so you can kind of heal you a bit off a base, heal a bit of damage off, so they're still, if they're trying to put you in range, just take you out. Then you can put yourself out of range thanks to this, and it only costs 1, and there's even then a cheap spell, well, cheap event to bait out things like Relentless as well. So we've got 2 copies of that. Then we got 1 extra copy of Restock, so when we're going against mirror mill decks or ever hard decks that might go for the mill route, we've got an extra copy of Restock, so that way we can make sure we're not going to deck out and recycle the cards we want to win. So an extra copy of that. We then got like 2 copies of Calculated Lethality, and I put this in so if you're against the one of the top decks at the moment, one of the main decks people use, being set 1 hand and want to kind of hold, like not be DJ'd and lose your resource permanently. So you then they're higher in resources to play more things, where you're low in resources and getting slower to get into the end, like later games, so you can start playing your bigger things. Calculated lethality is a nice little cheap event you can use to take out things like DJ and tech, because it allows you to defeat a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less, which is both DJ and tech, and it only costs 4. So if you don't have takedown, or if your opponent's like using things like Kira to kind of make your takedowns cost more, or ripping them from your hand, you still got this as well as another way to kind of make sure you take out DJ. So that way, even though they might take your resource, you can then take it back by killing DJ, and they've then tried to take a resource but not permanently ramping, and you'll get your resource back, so you're not down a resource. Because once you're down a resource, it's then a little bit harder to come back. So you've got extra copies to kind of make sure we're getting rid of those DJs. Then we got a copy of Fall of the Dragon, so extra removal for those bigger units. You're going to get decks that have big units that start want to get up, ramp up high, and then start chucking those huge things down. More ways to get rid of them. And also a copy of Vanquish to do the same thing as well, extra removal if need be. Now you can tweak this a little bit. Like, I've not played too much while I'm playing the side, so I need to kind of do that a bit more, because if you're on a best of 3, not like technically when you're playing best of 3 games and you got a sideboard, most of your games are going to be sideboarded, because if you feel you're going to play all 3 games every round, then technically that's 2 out of the 3 games where you can have your sideboard in, so you'll be playing more games with your sideboard than not. So you can always probably should do a bit more testing, but this is what I've got from my sideboard so far. If you've got any suggestions or tweaks to help deal with, because I think one of the most annoying interactions in this meta at the moment is hand with DJ. Like, stealing a resource is unique to that leader, which is pretty powerful as well. And they can always do it the turn they deploy as well, because then you get to 7, so you can even then not have to worry about tech coming out to make it cheaper, but then be able to do it when they deploy hand. So you can always then potentially entrench the hand so they can't attack with it and things like that, or paradox position so they can't attack with it and drop it. But then it all depends on what you got in your hand. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got any questions. If you've got any questions, suggestions, comment in the comments below. I'll answer as best I can. But that's it from me today. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next one. Bye for now.